Here are a couple of bonus exercises with a very useful tool. This is actually PVC pipe. You can get this at your local hardware store. You could also use a dowel, a wooden dowel if you prefer. You could also use a broom or a mop, but just know that with a broom or a mop, it's going to be weighted more on one side than the other, which makes when you lift overhead a little bit problematic. So I prefer the PVC pipe. Now, get a diameter that feels good in your hands. They come in different diameters, the dowels as well. So some are smaller and some are larger, so you decide. This one is 5 foot tall for my height. If you're 6 foot tall or taller, you probably want a 6 foot PVC pipe or dowel. If you're 5 foot tall, you don't need a 6 foot long. It's going to be longer than what you need. So the first exercise is a chest press. Have your hands about shoulder width apart, a little bit more, and place the pole on your chest. With good posture, you know what that is now because you've watched these videos, press straight forward. Think about those knuckles as leading the exercise, meaning the knuckles are going forward like a punch, so you're not turned up and you're not turned down. You can be breathing easily here. It doesn't matter what your breath pattern is, whether you're inhaling or exhaling as you press. I do want to caution you about overextending, and I'm going to show you what not to do. So from the side, when you press out, an overextension would mean this, where my arm, I've extended my arm as straight as it'll go, but now I'm moving my body to compensate, and somehow or other I may think that I'm pressing the pole out more, but I'm not. I'm just in a really bad position. I already feel this in my back. So let's show it again. So if you press out to almost your arm is straight, my elbow has a little bit of a bend in it, you're probably good. You're probably not overextending. That's exercise number 1. Exercise number 2 starts with the pole on your thighs. This one's a little bit more vigorous, so if you want to be wider in your grip, that might be a wise idea to start with. You're going to take the pole and you're going to bring it overhead, whatever that means. Overhead means a lot of things to different people, and I'll show you what I'm talking about here in a second. Again, it's slow, controlled movement, particularly if you haven't done this one or you spend hours sitting. This one can be a hard one. And again, breathing pattern that works for you, maybe inhaling up and exhaling down. So from the side, I want to show you a couple things. So sometimes people are like super tight in their upper back. I mean, that's why we're doing this, right? We're trying to get you to have better awareness of where you're tight and what your issues are. So pulling those shoulders down. And so when they lift the pole up, they end up here. They're so tight or they're stiff and it doesn't feel good. And they end up with the pole in front of their forehead. That's fine. Just notice where you are, kind of like the neck turns. Notice what you can see or where you end up so that over time, maybe those arms extend a little bit further back. Okay, if you do this slowly enough, you'll be able to tell at what point you feel a little bit of stress and where you should stop. I'm going to caution you about doing this exercise too quickly because you can pull something if you go too fast. So please be mindful about not flinging this pole up. The last bonus exercise with the pole, and you can do these exercises morning, noon, and night. They're movement again, so you don't have to be warmed up. They are warm-ups. Is the pole can be on your chest. This one is a shoulder press. Okay, so this is another problematic exercise for a number of people, depending on what your situation is. But you want to go straight up overhead and then back down. Now, my hands are, again, a little outside my shoulders. Please don't be narrow. You've made your life much more difficult. You can be a little wider on this, kind of like a goalpost almost. We call this goalpost position, and pressing up. Don't hit your face. If you have glasses or you're wearing a hat, you may hit your glasses or your hat. So just, again, be aware. And you can come all the way down to your chest. The rep scheme for this is like the others, 6 to 10, whatever feels good. Sometimes people get, again, fatigued with this. Remember the chest openers where you're opening up your arms parallel to the floor. So sometimes this one can get a bit tiring. So do the things that you want to do, the number of repetitions.